Well, we are inching closer to a midnight deadline. That's when either Air Canada or its pilots could trigger the start of a shutdown for the country's largest airline.
May not get home if they don't settle.
It's a bit of added extra stress.
We're just showing up and hoping for the best. We did switch our return flight, though, just in case we were going to get stranded.
Starting Sunday, both sides will be in a position to provide 72 hours notice of a strike or lockout, which could disrupt travel for more than 100,000 passengers. The two sides say they remain far apart on the central question of pay. The union, representing more than 5,000 pilots, says it wants increased wages. Air Canada says it's being inflexible with those demands, and the airline is calling for the government to be ready to intervene. Let's bring in Barry Choi, our travel expert. Barry, thanks as always for joining us.
Good morning. Good to be back.
Frustrating times for people traveling. A 72-hour strike or lockout notice. We could see that as early as midnight tonight, Eastern time. Where does that leave travelers?
Right now, as weird as it sounds, it's business as usual because until passengers actually start getting those cancellation notices, you're kind of in a holding pattern, right? Air Canada already has that goodwill policy. As we heard from some of those clips, people have already changed their flights. Technically speaking, they could still change their flight to today. And if they're traveling later in the week or in the next week, they could technically change their flight to after that kind of cooling off period, if you want to call it that. But right now, it's a wait and see approach. Always keep up to date with aircanada.com or the app because they will have the latest updates.
Now, we've heard a lot of people who have booked two flights, one with a different company in case there is a strike or a lockout. For people who aren't doing that, what kind of options do they have if we do get to that point?
You know, I think it really comes down to once consumers or passengers really get that cancellation, generally speaking, they would get it within 48 hours of the booking. And Roger, I don't know if you've ever had a flight canceled with Air Canada, but generally speaking, for me personally, it's happened a few times. And within an hour or two, I'm automatically rebooked. So, of course, we're all on our mobile devices these days. We'll get that alert right away saying it's canceled. And naturally, there's a little bit of panic. But I advise travelers, you know what, just calm down for a little bit. Try to enjoy yourself just a touch more while it's certification. Kind of see where things sort out and land themselves. And that said, if you're not comfortable, you want peace of mind, of course, that's when you want to call in, talk to Air Canada, talk to your travel agent if you book through a vacation package operator or a travel agency to get an updated information. At the same time, if you know you're going to be traveling, it's beneficial to yourself to kind of see what your other options are. See if there's a Star Alliance airline. So when you do call in, you can say to the agent, hey, can you get me on this flight? Is it available? Because then you're kind of doing a little bit of the legwork, but it gives you a little bit of peace of mind.
Now, they're still talking. There's still some hope that we could see a deal. But if there isn't, there's a lockout or a walkout. What do you think of a government intervention? Will that happen? Trudeau, we heard the Prime Minister saying yesterday, no.
You know what? Like our Prime Minister did say he's not going to intervene, but we'll see how long this strike works. I think it's in the best interest of everyone. The pilots don't want to go on strike. Air Canada doesn't want to see the strike. And obviously, passengers do not want a strike. So I think there is a deal to be made. How long it's going to take, who knows? I don't think the government will intervene. You know, it's really up to them. I'm sure there'll be pressure on both sides to favor themselves. But at this point, consumers should really be worrying about themselves, whether that be getting themselves home, delaying their travels, or looking into their travel insurance.
Okay. Barry, thank you as always, sir.